Hi again. I hope this is working. So in the last video, research number one, I called it, I walked you through just like how to navigate different parts of the library website, including chatting with a librarian if you need help. Um, and this is all online based. So we've gotten to the point where we can actually log into a library database. So exciting. So you could use those other Gale library or Gale literary sources or OneSearch or those big umbrella aggregative databases, but I'm going to show you how I tend to do it, which I find quite successful because I know which databases I trust. So all I do is I go to databases A to Z because I know what I'm looking for. Oh, and by the way, in case you weren't aware, this is how you log into Canopy, where you can watch lots of documentaries and feature-length films. And I watched Midsummer last night, and it was really freaky, but you can watch it all for free. Last summer's big horror movie. So this is all you do. You click on Canopy. But we're not doing that right now. We're not at Canopy and Chill Time, so we are going to log into JSTOR, which is what I mentioned before as being one of the recommended databases for literary sources or social sciences sources, or I think science as well. Like it's a pretty big one still. So I wanted to do this with you because I know you're going to see this page and you're just be like, oh shit, I've never logged into the BMCC library databases before. I'm so sick of remembering all of my passwords and all of this access information that you just feel paralyzed and then you go to Google and then you've given up before you've even started. Well, no. All you need to do is get your BMCC ID and your barcode should be listed on the back underneath the barcode. Oh, I guess, yeah, I'm showing you my barcode. That's happening. No, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to plug in my barcode so you don't know. Okay, so I plugged in my barcode. It worked. I got in. If it didn't work for you because you've never had it activated before, there was an email right below that barcode field where you can immediately call or email the library circulation desk because they just need to activate your card. That's all it is. But you should do that right away because you're going to need this again and you want to be a good serious scholar and go on to a four-year college and wow everyone with your knowledge of the library databases. All right, so here we are in JSTOR, and I would always, you can do this. You can start with just like, I want to know what's been written about Othello. It would be best, of course, if you had a particular interest, like maybe you're interested in the role of Iago and manipulation, in Othello, or maybe you're interested in the theme of jealousy and how the green-eyed monster, how it comes to consume him. Maybe you're interested in women and Desdemona, and maybe the friendship between Emilia and Desdemona, and how women's friendship can serve as a kind of salve to some of the more competitive and violent relations between men in the play. Actually, if you are at the point where you don't quite know, it might be a good time right now to pause the video and sketch out a few keywords about what interests you about Othello so that you kind of have a sense of what you're looking for here. So just feel free to pause the video and free write for a couple minutes about themes that pique your interest. And maybe, of course, race is something you could look at, or religion. Othello is coming from a Muslim country, and wow, I don't know, masculinity in the play. There's a lot to deal with. So anyway, I'm just going to see what happens if you click search for Othello. And you come up with 23,000 search results, which is just way too much. And so the first thing, I get really overwhelmed if I look through this. You need to learn how to navigate these databases in a way where you don't get overwhelmed before you've even started. So one thing you might start to do is we don't really have access to books now, so you might limit it here to just journals. That's still 20,000. That's too much. And subject, okay, we can keep limiting to language and literature. That's still going to leave us like way too broad. we're slowly narrowing down, but not really. You might want to sort by the newest items first. And it's sort of funny that you can't click a thing. Sometimes you can see here, yeah. Okay, that's what I did wrong. So right now we can only access content that's available to us. When I click all content, that means that even databases that BMCC doesn't subscribe to would come up as part of the search results. So you want to leave this as all content. And then that means that the download PDF button is activated and you're not going to pay $14 for your journal article, which is just so expensive. And this is already kind of interesting. I mean, some of these you might already want to rule out, and a really important skill as you continue learning how to research is you can't look at everything. You need to learn to skim through the titles, skim through the topics and the keywords to see what could be useful for you and what definitely isn't. This is kind of cool because it deals with Harry Potter and it's in a children's literature journal. We know that it's super new because now I have sort by newest first. But the fact that it doesn't have Othello in the title of the article or even in the topics means that what this search has done is it's found the word Othello somewhere in this journal article. It could be anywhere. It could be in a footnote. And that means that it's not a major feature of this article, so you probably don't want to look at it, because that's the other thing. The fact that I didn't do an advanced search and just clicked Othello means that it's going to do a full search of the entire article and come up with every single article that includes the name Othello. I don't know what this has to do with, I don't know, Journal of New Zealand Literature. This seems a little specific to something that might not help us. Maybe this one, like again, this obviously must mention Casio somewhere in terms of alcohol, but again, it doesn't have Othello in the name. And so I would wonder if it maybe doesn't have much to do with what we are talking about here. Okay, but this is sort of interesting. The Spectre of the Blackamoor, which is a longer version of Moor, which we learned is, Othello's name. So we click on the title. I want to know more about it. Get it? More about it. And it's super new. I've never heard of this journal title, but if I wanted to, I could do a quick Google of this person's name, and probably find out that they are at a university or something. I mean, but you don't have to do that, because also the university, there are a lot of really smart people who don't have jobs right now. That's a separate story. Let's just look at, and we get a snippet here, and all you would want to do is skim through a few paragraphs. Sometimes you will come up with just an abstract, and you can, which is to say a summary of the whole article, and that abstract will give you a sense of how helpful it will be for you. But this one doesn't seem to have an abstract. And it's pretty long, it's 30 pages. And it might be a little bit dense, but if you are interested, it looks like it gives more of an art historical perspective, a broader perspective on blackamoors. And so, you know what? I'm now going to say that this probably isn't going to deal enough with Othello in particular. It's looking at the Moor as an identity, but not specifically Othello, so you might not want it. But quick demonstration here of how you can quickly cite this item if you were to decide that you were in love with it and it's going to save your project. All you have to do is click on this button, cite this item, and you can copy the MLA citation here and just paste it right into your works cited. That is literally how easy it is. So definitely make use of these things that feel like you're cheating, but you're not. And if you do want to download it to your computer, you can click this download PDF so that you can come back to it later, even when you're not logged in. Okay, so that was not super helpful. I think what I'm trying to say here is it's better to go to advanced search, not just this massive search of everything. And so what happens then if I search for Othello and women? Oops, I don't want to add a search box. I'm just going to click search here. So, okay, still 10,000 search results, and that's a lot. We're going to limit it just to journals. And it is going to take some time. So maybe, and you want to, if it's just called Othello, that's probably not useful for you. Sometimes those are like strange, like shorter pieces. Othello and Desdemona. And this is like a little bit old, 1989. So you can keep that in mind as you're reading it, but it's only 9 pages long. The last one was 31 pages. This seems a lot easier. And also, honestly, at this point, I don't think you have to worry too much about getting super recent sources because some of the stuff from the 80s and 90s is still really foundational and useful. Um, so this seems to be comparing Othello with Romeo and Juliet. Um, and yeah, I don't totally know what this is about. I wish it was going to give me an abstract, but you've got to at least it look maybe it's yeah, it's sort of comparing these three plays, so I don't know how useful that would be either. Maybe talking about how to perform it or the psychological movement in Othello himself. Yeah, I'm gonna pause this to see if I can find a more relevant article for you. Okay, I should have just looked at exact what was directly underneath this one. Othello and Desdemona. Here's this one is actually, it looks really good. It's more recent. It's from 2011. We've talked a lot about the power of Othello's storytelling in the play and how that is the cause of Desdemona falling in love, like a kind of witchcraft. And here, very helpfully, we have an abstract. So now you can read this abstract, the summary, and that'll give you a sense of the whole journal article and if it's worth your time to read through these, 8 pages, which again, that's not too long for a journal article. That's pretty good. So the Moor of Venice is not only a valiant warrior, but also a man who knows the power of words. It is not simply Othello's prowess on the battlefield that wins him his role. Rather, it is his storytelling, it is his ability to create and recreate his life's narrative that enables his success in civilian life. This paper argues, and so that's great, you know exactly what the argument you'll be looking for, that Othello does not merely believe that individual abstract words signify actuality, but also that words can create actuality. I think that means like create a world when they are spoken. So that looks pretty interesting. And then you might want to download it and click cite so you have it. Never wait till the last minute to do that. Always click this information, save this information right away. Otherwise, you're going to lose it and really frustrate your future self. One of the most important research pieces of advice I can give you is to write down everything you find at the stage when you find it. Don't plan to go back and find citation information later. It's going to drive you crazy. Okay, I wanted to finish this video real quick by showing you this other database that I really love and trust beyond JSTOR. Go to M in the list of databases, go to MLA International Bibliography. I searched Othello and Emilia because I'm really interested in her character, and a lot of super interesting items came up that you can refine limit to only those that have linked full text, I recommend, and also limit to scholarly peer-reviewed articles. You see where I'm doing this on the left-hand side of your screen. I'm going to cut out in a second because these videos can't be longer than 15 minutes, but do vary your databases and don't rely only on JSTOR. MLA International Bibliography is really excellent and reliable as well. Thanks for listening.